Trump administration is forging ahead with plans for a second term despite the results. His legal team is pursuing lawsuits in at least 5 states, including a new one filed last night in Michigan. Paula Reed is at the White House. Paula, good morning.
Good morning. Anthony, White House officials tell CBS News that President-elect Joe Biden will not get an invitation to the White House before President Trump has exhausted all of his legal options and before the vote count is certified. But many of the lawsuits that the campaign is back, they've been thrown out by judges who say they are not supported by evidence. But the campaign continues to try to undermine confidence in the election process.
The Trump campaign's new lawsuit in Michigan cites familiar claims like ballots being counted twice and interference with election challengers. But this time, the suit comes with a 234-page document filled with affidavits of people who call themselves witnesses to alleged voting irregularities. In one example, a poll challenger claimed that there were several irregularities where ballot numbers did not match what was in the voter files. She said poll workers used their bodies to prevent her from watching and observing the ballot counting process. In another, a Republican challenger said she saw poll workers open ballots with Trump votes and respond by rolling their eyes or showing it to other poll workers. CBS News has not yet been able to verify these alleged witness accounts. Election law expert David Becker.
Right, none of these accounts are first person. None of these accounts were brought in a timely fashion. There are some serious questions about all of the testimony that's offered that people of Michigan voted by a margin of nearly 150,000 votes in favor of President-elect Biden in this election. I think this lawsuit at best is designed to pressure the Michigan legislature, which is led by Republicans, to substitute its will for the will of the people of Michigan.
Republicans continue to search for widespread issues. In Texas, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is offering up to $1 million to incentivize, encourage, and reward people for reports of voter fraud, even though there has been no evidence of any there. And top Republicans are rallying to support the president's refusal to concede, as Nancy Cordes found on Capitol Hill.
Senator, have you congratulated Vice President Biden yet?
No.
Why not?
You're actually wrong.
And Secretary of State Mike Pompeo sent shockwaves when he appeared to dismiss the election results.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
And just one day after Mr. Trump fired his defense secretary, the Pentagon's top civilian officials for policy and intelligence resigned and will be replaced by Trump loyalists, including Anthony Tata, a retired general who has promoted conspiracy theories and whom the Senate previously rejected for a Pentagon job, and Kash Patel, a former aide to Republican Congressman Devin Nunes.
The Democratic chair of the House Armed Services Committee says this kind of high-level turnover at the Pentagon is dangerous, especially during a transition. He warns that it could be part of an effort to just gut the Pentagon of decades of experience. But previously, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he said that he would not allow the military to get involved in any of these disputes over the outcome of the election. Gail.
Paula, thank you. CBS News has not projected a winner in 4 states. That's Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, and Alaska. But we should point out that even if President Trump won those states, he would not be reelected. He doesn't have the votes. Nationally, President-elect, that's Joe Biden, now has 279 electoral votes. Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett joins us now to discuss. Major, where to begin? We've got world leaders from all around the world congratulating Joe Biden, but yet in the Republican Party, they've become mute. They're refusing to acknowledge these results. What is the impact of all of this?
Well, it goes against our history, it goes against good governance, and the longer it goes, the deeper it will create divisions in this country about what actually happened in this election. And the president and the Republicans who stand with him will have to bear the responsibility for whatever comes from that. I don't know what that's going to be. But this is not in concert with the way we approach governance in this country. It simply isn't. Everyone knows, all rational Republicans know, these lawsuits are essentially hearsay, meaningless, and distractions, period. That's all they are. They're delaying the inevitable. Every sensible Republican on Capitol Hill knows that in his or her heart of hearts. And their mute testament and loyalty to the president will only serve to encourage him to resist what is inevitable, the transition of power. And History will judge them harshly.
Well, this is,
Harshly.
I think people aren't really surprised that Donald Trump is responding this way. He has said all along that it would be very difficult for him to lose and very difficult to accept the results. But what is the Republican strategy here?
Well, the Republicans tell themselves the following story, Gail, that only by allowing the president to go through this process and exhaust, in their terminology, all legal claims, even the fanciful ones that they have put before the courts currently, only that process will reassure the president, coax him to a concession, and bring his supporters along with him. That is the story they tell themselves. They also told themselves a story in the spring about the president approaching the coronavirus as Winston Churchill with tremendous optimism, leadership, and heroism. I'll leave it to them to judge whether or not that happened, but I will quote Churchill in this one sense about this entire situation we find ourselves in. You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth.
So, you know, when you're a little kid on the playground, I think junior high school, they tell you either put up or shut up. So at what point does the Trump administration have to put up or shut up? We keep saying show evidence, and they haven't done so yet.
The courts will rule, and when the courts tell them this is, as David Beckert indicated in that previous piece, affidavits that are based on hearsay, they're not timely, they're not relevant, they're not confirmable, you have no case, go away, and state legislatures say we're not going to override the will of the people expressed through tabulated votes, then it's over. We already know it's over. All we're waiting for is someone at the top of our government to realize that.
All right, Mitra Garrett, always good to see you. Thank you.